One of the dominant themes at the World Economic Forum in Davos 2022 have been cryptocurrencies, the future of Bitcoin. Joining us to discuss this, the founder of CoinSwitch in India, Ashish Singhal. Thanks very much for being with us. Now, there's a lot which I think we can all learn about Web 3.0. Now, for the common user, what does it imply and how does it actually take this entire thing one step forward?
Sure.
Many steps forward.
Sure. So before taking a step forward,
Sure.
let me take a step back. Right? Tell you how technology has evolved.
Yeah.
Say, your phone, my phone is sitting
Yeah.
idle today,
Yeah.
not getting used.
Right.
What crypto and blockchain is trying to create is a network where all these phones, mobile phones, laptops can be connected, and this is just one use case of crypto, right? And instead of hosting your internet or your business is online, you host it on this network.
Right, right.
And we as participant of this ecosystem get the benefit
Right.
of that ecosystem as
Right.
well. So this is the new internet in the making,
Right.
where a lot of companies would be community based.
Right.
Rather than driven by individuals,
Right.
would be community, and decisions would be taken by community,
Right.
and that is what we called Web 3.0.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's entirely secure because
Yes,
that's what a lot of
absolutely.
people would be worried about.
So individual, exchanges can get hacked, wallets can get hacked.
Yeah.
Blockchain has never been hacked.
Right.
Bitcoin has never been
Right,
hacked.
right.
It's similar to saying that HDFC Bank cannot get hacked,
Right.
but a user's account, the password can be,
Right.
manipulated or hacked
Right.
by a hacker.
And when it comes to talking about collective decision making in Web 3.0, what exactly does that imply?
That implies, let's take an example here as well, right? So say if Mr. Ratan Tata goes to a bank today and I go to a bank, although the rules of the bank are simple, they should apply equally to both of us, but because a bank manager would need a favor from say Ratan Tata, he may treat him very differently than me, right?
Right.
So the rules of the game would be very different. In a community ecosystem, the rules of the game are defined by the community and applied equally to everyone.
Right.
So anyone who is going to this application to take loan, everyone would be treated equally.
There's great equity over there.
There's great equity
Right.
over
There's
there.
no
It's-
favoritism.
There's
in
no
that sense.
favoritism, and it applies to India a lot more because a lot of unbanked population.
Right.
Commercial banks don't have an incentive to go and serve those
Right,
people.
right.
Now crypto, blockchain, Web3 can actually serve a large section of the population.
So, and that's what you're talking about, financial inclusion, right?
Exactly,
So give us
exactly.
more examples of how Web 3.0 and the future of crypto is essentially about financial inclusion.
Sure.
And that this financial inclusion doesn't necessarily mean tech-savvy people on their smartphones. It can actually extend to a large number of people
Exactly.
outside big cities as well.
Yes. So a big example of that could be CBDCs as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah.
And it's not just a private innovation. Public and private needs to come together to create this innovation. So I'll take CBDC as an example of financial inclusion. Now once RBI say releases their CBDC, now every individual in India with just an app now become banked. Instead of
Right.
relying on a standard bank
Yeah.
to give them access,
Yeah.
now RBI can give them access to the entire economy. They can exchange good digitally, be part of the economy by default.
Right.
That's what crypto, blockchain and Web3
Sure.
is here to provide.
The IMF chief yesterday said something. She said that, just saying Bitcoin just adding the word coin to Bitcoin doesn't make it a currency. So there is a certain belief that Bitcoin doesn't become a currency or shouldn't be a currency. Do you believe it should, or should it remain a digital asset?
I think how crypto started was to become a global currency, right? But what crypto ended up solving through blockchain was much bigger.
Right.
You are seeing a lot of use cases come out, Web3 use cases come out, and it is not the currency anymore. Doesn't mean to say that it will never be used as a currency. In some countries where there are economic hardships, you can't rely on the government-backed currency so much, that it may be able to serve as a currency, but
Right.
maybe a place like India it doesn't make sense,
Right.
and that is why you separate currency use case to CBDC
Right.
and call asset as a virtual digital assets,
Yeah.
the crypto tokens,
Right.
and it becomes an asset class in the making rather
Yeah.
than a currency.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about the excitement over crypto over here in Davos, where the entire world is now increasingly recognizing that, look, you cannot just block these things out.
Yes.
Crypto is the future. The form is still being developed, designed, and spoken about, but we cannot have a mindset where we say no, let's just stick with what we have.
So-
how has that been reflected over?
No, so it's reflected. The start of the street and the end of the street promenade is taken over by the crypto companies.
Right.
And they are showcasing the kind of innovations that they have done in this field. It's not about serving the currency use case. It is about creating more community-based companies, more open companies, which can be audited by anyone around the world. There are a lot of conversation within the Congress Hall as well about what is the future of blockchain and Web3.
Right.
We are seeing very positive news.
Right.
Public sector, private sector, both want to come together, innovate, and look at it as a next internet in the making.
Right.
Right. And that's very heartening to see.
And what has the response been to, say, CoinSwitch? You've been a founder in India, of course. You've done incredibly well, lot of promise. How are you being seen internationally as a real contributor to this process?
So our entire technology has been built in India, has been innovated in India. Now we compete not just with the Indian players, but globally as well. And we are all trying to create something which is much bigger than India, than just a product in India, right?
Yeah.
We are creating for the entire world, and I think that's where our technology is being appreciated all throughout.
Right.
And it's very heartening to see that again, that different players across the industry want to work with us, want to help us expand into different countries because they see the potential that we have built in India.
And I think my final question is that potential is going to remain.
Yes.
And it's important for perhaps governments to realize that in going forward, that millions will continue to be attracted to this.
Yes, absolutely. And it's the young generation who are grown up on the internet, who are grown up on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Now we are no longer behind the West, right? We used to be 5 years behind the West in technology. Now we are head to head or even ahead in many cases, right? So you would continue to see a lot of youngsters getting into this space, not just as investors, but as innovators as well.
Right.
And that is why, progressive policies in India would definitely help us build an ecosystem which is for innovators, users and the government alike, all three coming together to form the next internet, and India being that dominant force in the new internet.
Wonderful speaking to you. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
Well, there you have it, the future of Bitcoin and crypto. Web 3.0, it's a fascinating concept. It is being realized, and perhaps the early adoption of this technology, at least being aware of what it stands for and the importance of financial inclusion is so very important as we go forward.